Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello guys, so this is my last video on YouTube review article. So I will review the article that I have read before, and the article that I read will be divided into discussion. First about the English language skills education, and the second is about parenting in Indonesia. So further ado, let's get started. The first article is talk about Voice of American News as voluminous reading material for mid-frequency vocabulary learning. And the author in this article is Wen Hua Xiu, and I got this article from the ELC Journal, and that published on June 2019. In this article is to discuss about by measuring the vocabulary level of Voice of America VOA News for its potential as a reading material for medium frequency vocabulary learning. Then investigate how many VOA News entries are needed to deal with most of the first 9,000 word families, giving enough time for learning to occur. The author hopes the students reading similar news in the topic will result in more repetition of key and thus better condition for students to learn words. The student can be advised to read the news, especially on VOA. In conclusion, FL learners can get enough input from VOA News to learn mostly medium frequency words through a lot of reading, even though VOA News vocabulary usage only reaches the 6 families 1,000 word level at a 98% coverage. Continuous reading of up to 9 million words of VOA News will still help learners find most of the first 9,000 words often enough for learning to occur. And the second article is Harvard Business School HBS case method to teaching English for business communication. This article is written by the same author as the first article, but this article is not related with the first article. So, the author in this article is Wen Hua Xiu. And I got this article from Education and Linguistic Research Volume 2, Issues 2, and it published on November 2016. The intended audience for this article is the student in the study or second year students majoring in English. English majors take business English courses primarily for two purposes. First, they are preparation for future studies in business for master degree and preparation for job oriented. And the second, they consider elective English for business purpose (EBP) course as launching paths for career plans. In conclusion, the HBA's case method in teaching EBP is based on the assumption that the integration of language and content is the strength in problem solving or decision making tasks. The proposed teaching framework is certainly not a panacea, but aims to offer an alternative way of teaching English for business communication to non-business students as opposed to business professionals. The study also aims to target different contexts for the use of English, and EBP programs are designed to meet the needs of learners. And the third article is talk about enhancing oral presentation skills of ESL students, the use of oral communication strategies, and the author is Idrus Hairuzila. And I got this article from Assessment for Learning Within and Beyond the Classroom that published on 2016. This article discussed the presentation made by students as a form of oral communication strategy, as well as introducing oral communication strategy to students. This article can help them improve their oral communication delivery, especially in class presentations. And the reason this article was made is because most students feel anxious and worried that the presentation they make are not effective. So the findings that the strategy used fall within within the category of assessment strategy frequently used by competent ESL or EFL learners. This shows that students at this particular college are on the right track to becoming good presenters or better and remaining effective. However, on average, students used a reduction or avoidance strategy that could interfere with their efforts to improve their oral presentation skills. Therefore, it is recommended that oral communication strategy be introduced in the course syllabus in addition to providing strategies to further help students become effective oral presentation. So I think this is important in the university efforts to produce marketable graduates. And the fourth article is talk about teaching alphabet reading and writing for kids between 3 until 6 years old as a second language. And the author is Giti Karim Khan Luisia and Hadis Sefinia. And I got this article from Procedia Social and Behavioral Science, and that published on June 2015. In this article, the author focused on teaching the alphabet, reading, and writing to children as a second language. Note that this is so interesting in the research is the experience of the training children with a new method called the phonics method. So this article is a true attempt to investigate the effectiveness of either of the traditional method or phonics method. So in the teaching alphabet reading and writing to children between 3 until 6 years of age learning as a second language. So in conclusion, this article presents a comparison of two methods of teaching the alphabet reading and writing to children, namely the phonics methods and the traditional method. It can be concluded that the phonics method is more effective than the traditional method because the performance of the children in reading and writing who received the phonics method was better than those received the traditional method. In addition, based on subject performance on the final test, the traditional method was more problematic than the phonics methods because most of children or students who received the phonics method had better performance and better scores in reading and writing on the final test. Fifth article is talk about need increasing grammar focus in English teaching, a case in Indonesian. And the author is Bambang Sugeng. And I got this article from Journal of Education and Social Research and that published on September 2015. This article discusses how nationally students majoring in English speak English fluency but with very low grammatical quality. It seems clear that the students do not have an awareness of the use of grammar and they do not think that speaking or writing with correct grammar is important. Many staff members were amazed by the sheer number of errors in each paper and the simplicity of the mistakes students made. Therefore, the author pays attention to the acute obsession of how learning as a foreign language in Indonesia produce users who have the expected English proficiency with fluency and accuracy. The author wants English-speaking speakers of Indonesian as a foreign language to be able to use English well. So the conclusion of this article is that the author has provided data that now students write and speak English with extraordinary fluency, but with a truly pathetic level of accuracy. This widespread phenomenon is even more worrying when studies are from teacher education institutions because they will become models for their students when they teach in schools. So, changes are urgently needed in the syllabus to provide a more balanced treatment for fluency and accuracy by providing a greater amount of grammar teaching in the classroom. The sixth article is talk about critical thinking text manifested in Indonesian language textbooks for senior secondary student, and the author is Nani Solihati and Adi Hikmat. And I got this article from Journal of Research in International Education that published on September 2018. This article discusses how textbooks do not contain many assignments that promote critical thinking. In addition, the texts that have the potential to encourage students' critical thinking do not vary. The findings of this study indicate that as critical thinking has been included as one of the goals of education in this country. Textbook authors need to do more work to promote critical thinking. Since critical thinking has become a part of educational goals, Indonesian textbook can play an important role in promoting students' critical thinking skills. So, the conclusion is this research has confirmed that the elements of critical thinking are contained in Indonesian textbooks. However, the number is not significant. The findings of the study may encourage textbook authors to include more texts that promote critical thinking skills. Furthermore, the education authorities in this country need to seriously promote critical thinking by including it in the textbook and determining the objective of the teaching. The seventh article is talk about parenting as an acculturation process, the case of a group of Indonesian families. And the author is Meliani Budiarto Santoso and Apsari Nurliani Cipta. And I got this article from Asian Social Science Volume 15, number 9, and that published on August 2018. The author discussed a mother who raises her child from the experience gained by the mother when she grows up or gets older, especially for a mother who has a history of elementary school education, which surely a mother will really need experience from around her. Mothers educate their children as an acculturation process. Acculturation itself means intercultural adaptation and intercultural adjustment. So, according to the findings this article, mothers inform their children what to do with no explanation as to why they should do it. The orders have a beneficial or bad effect on the children. When the children respond well, the mother compliments them. But when the children respond poorly, the mother may engage in abusive conduct to demonstrate her power as a mother, forcing the children to do whatever the mother commands. The setting is generating a learning process in the child, according to Conway in Yusuf 2011, who states the family members serve as a role models. The eighth article is talk about effects of parental divorce on teenage children's risk behavior, incidence, and persistence. And the author is Gerwilher Gustafsson, Rodolf M. Naiga Jr., and Saiming Bu. And I got this article from Journal of Family and Economic Issues, and that published on September 2016. The author discussed new insight into the effects of divorce on the outcomes of adolescents' risk behavior. In this study, the author examined a wider range of outcomes, including drinking, alcohol consumption, tobacco use, marijuana use, and drug use. And the author also performed spirited analysis for men and women. The authors point out that policymakers should reject the notion based on the assumption that children are naturally resilient and can survive divorce with little impact of their lives. In fact, according to author research, the experienced stress cause of this stress may include decreased material well-being and less time spent with either parents. The result of matching trend scores and longitudinal data to select a sample of adolescents, half whom come from divorced family and half from married families. Children from divorced family are 10% more likely engaged in drinking, alcohol consumption, tobacco use, and marijuana use when they are 12 until 18 years old. Then the frequency of engaging in being drinking and alcohol consumption, tobacco use, marijuana use has increased with age for adolescents, boys and girls from divorced and married family. So the effects of divorce on adolescents girls are also persistent for alcohol consumption and possibly drinking. However, this does not apply to teenage boys. There was a little effect of divorce on drug use for either man or woman. And the next article is talk about the effects of social media advertising on consumer purchase intention, a case study of Indonesian family startup enterprises. And the author is Permatasari Anggraini Felicia. And I got this article from International Journal of Technology Transfer and Commercialization, volume 16, number 2, and that published on 2018. And this article is discussed about the biggest impact of advertising on individuals' interest in shopping when done through social media, as the influence of advertising on social media on consumer attitude towards the product they intend to purchase. And the author examines the Beribenka company as a survey of the products issued by the fashion company on their economic value, consumer attitude, and credibility. The author also discussed several variables such as consumer social value, information, and entertainment. Based on the result of hypothesis testing of the 6 hypotheses, 4 proved to be supported. 3 of the 5 hypotheses regarding social media advertising significantly influence consumer attitudes. The second and third hypotheses regarding entertainment and economic value are accepted and have a significant effect on attitudes. So the last article is talk about Indonesian parental perspective of international school partnerships involving millennial learners. And the author is Ahmad Bukhari Muslim, Herli Salim, and Sri Setyan Rini. And I got this article from Journal of Research in International Education that published on September 2020. The author discussed partnership with an international school and focused on its benefits and challenges as perceived by teachers and students. Due to the increasing involvement of the education community, there is a need for research on how this partnership program can benefit the millennial generation foreign language learning and has become an increasing concern among parents, as well as discussing EISP activities. There are several conclusions in this article. First, most of the participating Indonesian parents consider the sister school partnership to be an important initiative in improving the quality of their children's schools, leading to improvements in curriculum, lesson plans, and learning facilities. Give education as an important future investment. They are willing to support the partnership siblings despite their low economic status. And the second, parents also believe that sister schooling is an effective approach to foreign language learning, such as English, where learners are immersed in authentic and meaningful communication. So that's our review article from me. I'm sorry if I made some mistake or errors. I'm very happy if you appreciate my video by give me a like or comments on my video. So thank you for watching and see you again.